Hi everyone, it's Agnieszka from 5 Minute Language. Welcome to my channel. Make sure you subscribe and give this video a like if you enjoy it. It really means a lot to me. Also, make sure you leave a comment to tell me about what language you're learning. So today I'm going to talk to you about how you can improve your listening skills in the language you're learning. So my first tip is what I call mirroring. And mirroring is basically repeating something in the same way it has been said by a native speaker. So you find a recording, it can be anything, a YouTube video, a clip on Netflix, or any kind of listening material that you've got. And you basically play very small, short chunks of it, and then you repeat it straight away. So you repeat everything, not just the words, but also, trying to mirror the pronunciation, mirror the stress, and also the intonation, the kind of musicality of the phrase. So when you do that, it basically ensures that you kind of make that phrase your own and you make the learning more active. So just listening to something is a very passive exercise. So by doing mirroring, by having that speaking element included in the listening activity, you make it more active. And, through active learning, we're able to actually learn more effectively. So one good tool for mirroring is obviously using captioned video. So you can use YouTube or Netflix with subtitles, and that basically ensures that you know what you're actually hearing when you're listening to something. So on YouTube, you can put closed captions on in the language that you're learning. You can also use Netflix to put subtitles on in the original language as well. And I've got separate videos about using Netflix and YouTube for language learning, so make sure you check them out. I'll include them in the description box as well. But you can use something like Audible. Audible, if you haven't heard about it, is a huge collection of audiobooks. So basically any book that has been written pretty much has a version of an audiobook on Audible, and you can basically listen to somebody narrate the book. So if you've got a favorite book, you might have a paper copy of it or a Kindle version of it. You can then find an Audible audiobook version of it, and you can do both at the same time. You can read it and listen to it at the same time, which kind of improves the listening process because you can see the written word and you can hear it as well. So I definitely recommend Audible. I have used it myself, and it's actually really great for when you haven't got a lot of time. So for example, if I'm doing stuff around the house, I can listen to an audiobook instead of sitting down to read, because I haven't got loads of free time. So I'm kind of using those different activities that I do anyway to listen to audiobooks. And Audible actually has a 30-day free trial. I'm going to include the details in the description box. So when you're a member of Audible, you actually get to keep all the books that you download, even if you cancel your subscription, which is great because some services, they kind of take things away from you once you've cancelled. So you can always sign up and have a go at it, try it. And then if you cancel it, you get to keep the audiobooks that you purchased. You can, of course, use a podcast for this activity. So you can find a podcast and you can do the mirroring technique using a podcast. But the advantage of using something like Audible, like a professionally made audiobook, is the quality of the speech. So usually they employ voice actors to record those books, and that's why the clarity of the speech is much better than when you're just listening to a podcast. Okay, let's move on to the next tip. So the next tip is a technique that I call transitions, or focusing on transitions. And a transition is basically what happens between words. So in every language, when you're building a sentence, you use words that somehow combine together, and the sounds of those words also combine together. Paying attention to transitions is basically about listening for what happens when one word ends and the next word begins. Is there a pause, for example? Are those words kind of clearly distinct from each other, or are they blending together? Because in some languages they will be blending together. So listen to those transitions and make sure that you practice saying them as well with the sentences or the word combinations that you hear. So you can do that with any kind of listening material, again, including things like Audible, audiobooks. Like I said, they're especially good for kind of speech clarity. You can use podcasts, you can listen to the radio, any kind of listening material that you have available. Okay, my next tip is you should learn expressions and different structures that exist in the language you're learning. So often when we don't understand something that we can hear, it's not because it contains vocabulary that we don't understand, but because it contains an expression or a grammar structure perhaps that we're not familiar with. And that's kind of more of a barrier than not understanding an individual word. So when you learn those expressions, so idioms or kind of phrases that native speakers use, or when you learn all the different grammar structures that exist in the language, that will significantly improve your listening comprehension as well. And my final piece of advice is definitely don't neglect listening practice and interactions with others. So by interactions with others, I mean obviously speaking to native speakers, but also speaking to anyone who is learning the language you're learning. Some people find it easier to actually talk to other non-native speakers first before they move on to talking to native speakers. I am one of those people. I love talking to other people who are learning the language in the language because I don't feel as self-conscious about the way I speak. So that might be something that you may prefer to do as well. But definitely don't ignore those interactions. You need them constantly. You need listening practice constantly. I made that mistake of ignoring it. And, when I went to France, I thought I was fluent. I went to study there at university for like a student exchange thing. I was able to read books, so I thought, I know a lot of French, but actually I'd been ignoring those kind of interactions with other French speakers, and I was not doing enough listening practice, so I was kind of stuck when I got there because I couldn't really understand conversations very easily. So it took me a while to catch up with my kind of reading comprehension to kind of make sure my level was the same with listening. So I hope you enjoyed these tips, and make sure you check out the link to Audible in the description box as well, and give this video a like if you liked it, and let me know in the comments what else you would like me to talk about in future videos. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!